everyone, it's Vinny Venom, and this is Getting Into the Business, the music business that is episode 22. I am Vinny Venom, your host, music producer, remixer, songwriter, record label owner, apparel owner, entrepreneur, public figure. So let me start off by saying to everyone, thank you for all the love and the support I've been getting from all my fans and all the DJs here and overseas, for everyone streaming my music, sharing my music, letting other people know about my music, the DJs that have been playing my music on their mix shows and telling other DJs about my music. I appreciate you guys immensely. Like I said, this show that I put together and everybody's been contacting me on the last show that I did, episode 21, regarding copyrights of PA and in SR forms. What's the difference? Thank you for getting back to me. I'm happy that that show explained and gave you the information that you might have not known or had no idea about it, and it did get you to where you need to be. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be doing another episode regarding an unpublished group and a published group in future episodes. So stay tuned to that. If you're new to this show, then definitely subscribe, like, share, and comment. If you're liking this show and you believe you're getting information from it and you believe someone else is going to, then also let them know about it and share it with them. And if they like it, they'll like it, comment, and share it at also. So let me start off by what I said. If you're an artist, then send me your music. If I like it, I will definitely talk about it on the show. I will not be able to play it because of copy infringement, but I will definitely able to talk about it and leave you in the description and let everybody else know where they can find you, whatever music platform you are on. And you're probably on many of them, as much of us are. Okay, so the artist that I'm talking about is an artist that I was listening to a live show early in the morning that DJ Nismo with 78.7 was doing with this female artist, Mari Angeil Lopez. And I was listening to her interview and she was talking about her latest track, Oxygen. And DJ Nismo with 78.7 was doing this interview early in the morning. And Mari Angeil Lopez was saying, like, I'm not really up this early. And it showed me that how devoted and driven she is for her fan and also for giving DJ Nismo the opportunity to interview her early in the morning, even though it might have been something that she normally doesn't do, waking up early in the morning to do interviews, but she did it anyway because this is what we do as artists. We do things that we commonly do not do, but we do it for our artists because how much they mean to us and how much we love them. And if it wasn't for them supporting us and downloading our music and streaming our music, we wouldn't be the artists that we are. So when I heard Mari Angeil Lopez talking, and what I do is I usually go backtrack when she was talking about her song Oxygen. I went to go look and I heard other music that she did, a song called Bad Dreams, and then another Spanish song, Latin song that she sang with another artist that sound amazing. And she's a freestyle artist, and I'm signed to a freestyle label, including the label that I have on my own. That's my own label, Beatcutterz Music. I'm also signed to Cutting Records, a legendary music label for freestyle and many other club music. So we have a lot in common, and we kind of know the same people. She was born in Brooklyn, and I was born in Brooklyn, so we have that also in common. So she was talking, and she was saying, what got her into music, what brought her into music, what continues to have her do music. So the reason why I actually did this show is not only for the tutorials, like the copyrights and everything like that. I'm also going to take this show to the next level and interview artists like Mari Angeil Lopez and many others and speak to them and find out their background, maybe that people don't know about, what got them involved in music, what brought them into music. Was there any influencers in music that got her started or helped her on her way? I know as me becoming a producer and a remixer and a songwriter and everything else that I have accompanied to me now, I was a rapper at first. So I actually started battling and banging beats on the table and battling and rapping and whatnot because, I thought I had something I can contribute. and do something, and I was good at it. I was beating people. So the next step is watching everybody on TV, all these rappers, and I said, "What's the difference from them and me?" The only difference is they're doing it and I haven't started doing it, but I need to start doing it to get to the point where they are because they actually started at one point like me too, and everybody started at one point like each other. So the only difference is doing something and not doing something, doing it sooner than later also. So hearing Marie Angeli Lopez talking about her music and what keeps her going with music and how much she loves music and where she's living now compared where she lived before, these are things that then I started talking to her and after, because I was leaving comments and she commented back and we started conversating together and I was like, I like your music, I know now I put the face to the music, kind of know now more about you. Then I said to her, you know my music? She's like, yeah, I heard the M Code, I heard all the other tracks. I know who your music is, Vin. That made me feel good because we're both artists and we're both appreciating our talent and we both listen to each other and we have something in common now because she heard me, I heard her, and we started talking. And I do this show, and I said, I got to start knowing her as a person more than an artist, but knowing she's an amazing artist to boot. I said I do this show, and I would definitely like to my next episode. That is this episode 22 of getting into the business, the music business. That is, I said I would like to feature you and talk to you. So I started asking her for information, and you probably see the artwork for Oxygen, her latest song out there. And so this is the interview that eventually I'm going to start doing interviews where actually you will be hearing artists, singers, male and female, like Maria Angeli Lopez and many others, because I want to give people the opportunity to speak to the artist that they enjoy and became fans of. Because the question is with me is a lot of my fans, um, right, were a lot of them were just fans and then they became friends of mine because we got so connected. I started to know what they were involved in. They started to know what I was involved in. And the same thing with a lot of DJs that I got to know, like DJs like Dan Matthews and John Hoffman and DJ Akar and Lex from Extreme Mix Radio and John D'Angelo and Frankie Vasquez. And there's so many other one and Dutch Mars and Peter Quest. And there's so many other DJs. And if I forgot your name, I'm thanking all of you guys. And especially when you're doing a show like this, you're trying to figure out and trying to connect with so many people. Sometimes your brain goes blank and it's hard. So if I missed anybody, I don't want to offend anyone. Thank you, everyone that has been supporting me. Oh, Chris Aaron also. I'm sorry. I see these names come to me after. So I have to thank all these DJs because they started playing me. And matter of fact, a lot of them said to me, hey man, I played you before. Adi DJ Akar said that to me. I played you, Vin, before you were this well known. You know that. I was one of the first. I said, yeah, I know. And thank you so much for the love and the support. I appreciate it, my brother. And it's amazing when you connect with these artists and they start to know who you are because at one point nobody knew who I was. They had no idea. They didn't care because there's so much music that comes out every single day. Do you have any idea the magnitude of music that comes out every single day from not only the US but all over the world? And you have new music Tuesdays, you have new music Fridays, you have now the opportunity that you have programs like Logic Pro X, you have Ableton, you have FL Studio, you have Pro Tools, you have Cubase. There's so much, and then you have all these other modules and sequencers that you could make pattern loops and connect them together and make a track together. You know, it's so easy now because things are so put in such a manner where they weren't before. It makes everything so easy to do. Everybody has a computer. Everybody has this program. I know a lot of people that just got FL Studio just to mess around at one point, and now they're producing tracks that you're hearing in the club, you're hearing on the radio by them just messing around with something, and eventually they got good at it. If you do something long enough in life and you really like it and you really want to do it, you're going to get really good at it. You're going to get so good at it that you're going to go into pro level uh, situation. And at first, I didn't know any of that stuff. I started out as a rapper. When Aldo and Amato, his brother, and Jerry Calise, that was my ex partner, and was one of the first artists that was featured on Cutting and started Cutting. The song was "It's Time." That Aldo Moran was the vocoder voice of that, um, and Jerry created the track with Aldo, and they put out this song called "It's Time." Aleph Nafish by Hashim. That song became one of the biggest breakdancing records and got everything started for them. And cascade of different legendary artists came out of there, from Two in the Room, from Karina, from Giggles. I could go on and on and on, Coro. So many artists that I seen me going there, and just for rapping on one of Jerry's tracks that he needed someone to rap on, and his friend having a little A track at one point, and me rapping there and getting the whole process of then going to a studio, and then from a basement studio or a bedroom studio, then creating something that you hear on the radio for the first time. I remember when I heard my first song for the first time, it blew my mind, because I'm like, wow, I would never think in a million years that I would ever get to that point. I'm sorry, my phone is ringing. I'm getting these spam callers calling me. It's crazy. So it's amazing that I went from one point in life to this point in life. That's why I always tell people, if you want something bad enough in this world, you can get it. The question is, how much time and effort are you looking to put in to make it happen and achieve that goal? You know, just like Mari Angeil Lopez, she probably had a dream at an early age that she wanted to be a singer, or she had somebody influencing her to become this amazing singer that everyone loves and enjoys. Same thing with DJ Nismo. He probably at an early age had an influencers or many influencers that got him to be a DJ, and now he's a DJ. You know what I'm saying? Just like me, I learned from so many mentors. I have Omar Santana, I have Frankie Bones, I have Junior Vasquez, I have Jelly Bean Benitez, I have Giorgio Moroder, I have Anton Kevorkian from Kraftwerk that showed me how to do um, sound design. I know I'm a sound designer now, so a lot of my music, if you hear, and I'm actually going to start doing a show on that also, showing people how sound moves, and what an oscillator does. Oscillator changes sound, envelopes open, LFOs move them. You know what I'm saying? So many. I mean, so many things that you will learn by just experimenting. It's just amazing how, when you go from one place to the next, it's just mind-boggling knowing how what levels you go. I listen to people's music. They send me their stuff, and I tell them, if you're gonna send me your stuff, I'm gonna be as down to earth and tell you if I like something. I'm not gonna be the person that's gonna dishonest you. If I don't like something, I'm not gonna say I like it, because that'll be a dishonesty not only to you but to myself, because that's not gonna make you get better. It's gonna make you think you're better, but you're not. And then you rather hear it from me than hearing it from a record label or a radio station DJs, and knowing that your stuff is not at par, and it's not even there, not even close to it. You know what I mean? Then I get a lot of people sending me stuff, and I'll listen to their stuff. It's pretty good, but they're not there yet. They have a lot more time and years to still mess around in their studios and figuring out how to arrange stuff, and how frequencies work, and how different drops and different breaks, and coming up with stuff like cooking, that you don't want stuff to sound, I mean, taste bland, or or too salty or whatever. You want everything to accommodate, complement, I'm saying, complement each other. You don't want nothing to overpower each other. Just like music, sometimes people think more is better, and it's not. Less is better, because you get to hear everything stand out. The question is, when you do music, you want your story being told. You don't want it to be something that's going to be confusing to listen, and is a distraction on you hearing the story. You want a nice laid back story that's going to take you on a journey, a trip from beginning to end, and stop off in different parts of that story where you have to, let's say, um, get gas or stop for a snack or a bathroom break, funny as it sounds, but it's the truth. So when you have a story, give when you create something and that creation is telling a story, that's the right track you're going to. Then the question is, and I've asked this question many times, what's the difference of a hit song and a not hit song? Well, it's how you put it together. Listening to something and never getting tired of it. Every time you listen to it, you get something else out of it. And if you're getting something else out of it and you created it, imagine normal people that are your fans or people that are hearing the song for the first time, what they get out of it every time they hear it. How many times you hear people say, I listen to the song and it takes me back to my childhood? I listen to this song, it takes me back to my club days. I listen to this song, it takes me back to when I was this young kid that didn't know right or wrong. But at that time, this song was on, or this song was playing, or whatever. Or you hear somebody saying this, hey, I listened to this song and it brings me back to my youth. I listen to this song, it makes me think about when I got married. It listens to this song, it makes me remind me when I lost my virginity. All these crazy songs have certain type of different scenarios, things that happen, you know? It's crazy because you accompany a song to a time in your life that you experienced. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's crazy as it sounds, but it's true. So, how many times you listen to songs and they're old songs, but they still hit you in a way that you don't get tired of hearing them because you liked them before, but now you like them even more because you recognize where it takes you every time you hear it. It's crazy as it sounds, but I hear so many people tell me certain things, and I kind of try to uh, understand where they're coming from, and I kind of start getting things as they go. So, like I said, everything sounds different to everyone else, but every time you hear something, you getting something different out of it, then you can never get tired of it. You know what I'm saying? And it's also a melody. It's also a saying because when you have something and it sticks in your head, then it becomes something impermanent into your memory. And every time you hear it, it sets off a switch. How many times do you have these kids singing along to these songs because there's a certain vocal lyric pattern that injects into their brain and they have nothing but every time they hear it, they have to, it just like a switch takes off on them and they have to repeat it. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that you learn in music theory and you try to figure out things as you go. A lot of people, like I said, knew me as a rapper before I was an actual music producer, remixer, or songwriter. So, and I just rap about anything. I'll do something right now. We go through things so many times in our lives that is true. The negative, the positive, things that some way or some other way of the day relate to us is true. We understand things that we do might be bad for someone like me and you. We do things to learn as life is experience, as we know some, and always think that life is like a pattern, like some type of drum. Me, as I know, I understand the reason of music and lyrics and how they flow. I'm sorry for I'm coughing because unfortunately I had so. So, what I'm trying to say and what I try to do every single day is try to give you knowledge in some particular situation of what happened to me one day. It might relate to you or might not be something related to you in any way, but you might happen to have you fall into that situation sometime of your life of your day. But understand what we do and how we do it and how we go through. Certain things we have to do to get to what we need to do. certain things we do, but we do so well is true, but we can't struggle. We work hard to see these things through. I work hard at what I do. Everyone got to know me. That is me. That is you. But remember, everything in life happens for a reason. And that is so, so true. But what I try to say to people and what I try to implement to certain people, and they relate to me, some people don't relate to me, is we're all put on this earth to give something back. A singer, a poet, a writer, an actor, uh, a designer, a fashion consultant, a architect, a engineer. We all are created with a talent in some way is situated with us one way or another, you know? So I try to let people understand that some people get it and some people don't, you know? And I try to tell people that everything in life, it all comes down to experience, okay? Certain people have more experience than others, some people have less. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to someone knowing a little bit more than someone else. And that takes time, that takes effort, that takes practice. The more you practice, the more you learn. Okay. The more you do something, the more you pick it up faster. So when somebody tells to me any tricks, any things you can give me that could help me on my way, well, if you like something so much and you're having a hard time doing it, do it as much as you can because that's the only way you're going to break through and figure it out. Because remember, and I'll say this all the time, and it's true, failure is a good thing because once you fail at something, you know you did something wrong. The only thing you can do next is correct those mistakes, and you will never make those mistakes ever again. Right? So you could only go forward, you can't go backwards. But it's always good to go backwards because you're learning from your mistakes. It's guiding you to where you need to repair them. And once you repair them, then you know that you're not going to make those mistakes anymore. I've been talking to a lot of entrepreneurs and I get a lot of information from a lot of people because I ask questions or I read or I look at things on YouTube that relate to me or going to relate to me in some way or another. We have the most strongest tool that was given to us at birth. It's our brain. It is the most important thing that we have in our body that can open doors for us. I mean, it can knock down doors for us if we know how to use it and we implement it for our advantage more than anything else. If you don't know something and you're not even anywhere have any clue what you need to do, then you have to find out every single minute what you need to get this in order. Otherwise, you're going to make mistakes and things are not going to work out. Things are going to be going backwards instead of forwards. You're going to get aggravated. You're going to get disgusted and you're going to give up. That's what happens. Just like I said in my last uh, show, episode 21, the tutorial that I did on copyrights, SR and PA, I also said, even the information that I give you, always contact the copyright office, even though what I said to you, because things change by the day, by the month, by the year. You know, the copyright fee was at $65 at one point. Now it's at $85. Who knows? In another month, it could be $100. So you send out your money to that amount, and it kicks back because you don't have the right amount of money because the fee went up. So you always have to contact them and explain what you're doing and if things changed the way they originally were a month ago, a year ago, and find out and say, oh, well, you don't do it this way anymore. How do you do it? Because I need to do it and I need to get it right. So don't be afraid to make them know that you don't know what you're doing. Not everyone knows what they're doing in life. We learn, from doing things in life. What's the best experience? On the job training, because you make mistakes. Someone tells you about your mistakes, you repair those mistakes, you take notice of those mistakes, and you don't do them anymore. Now, what I do is if it's certain thing that I need to know, I write it down. I have a book. So anytime I have to go back to it, I never forget certain things because I have everything step by step now in order. So for some reason, I'm doing so much and I'm exhausting my brain because I'm going to talk about this too. You also remember, you're not a machine. Your organs, your membranes, your receptors, right? So you don't want to strain those things out or burn them out because once you do that, it doesn't make things easier for you. It makes them harder. So you have to understand that. So you have to know when you have to stop and do a reset. And that has a lot to do because I've been talking to a lot of people and they're like, well, we used to work like that and it didn't help us. It hurt us more than anything else, trying to do so much in one day because time is the one thing that we have, but we don't have so much of it. And it consumes us so much that it takes away from everything else that we're doing. So this is how a lot of people work. And I work now. I put together either 3, 4, or 5 max hours of the day. And in those hours, I do as much as I need to do to accomplish the goal that I'm set to do at that day, at that moment, at that time. And that gives me time to do other things. So I'm not just focusing on that and burning myself out on that subject, but I have other things that I'm doing. I'm gardening, I'm going for a walk, I'm going bike riding, I'm going to see friends, I'm going to see family, I'm going to see going out in general. I'm not just consuming myself, but whatever I'm doing, I'm putting all that effort in there for the time that I'm doing to focus on that and that alone. Once that is done, I don't focus that anymore. And I know now because I'm giving my brain an opportunity to not just relate to one thing, but many things. Because if it's just it's like a stuttering, a record skipping, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't sound right. The same thing goes with your brain. So you have to know when to rest, when to take a break, when to stop, when to start all over again. Otherwise, nothing gets accomplished. Everything gets set back instead of going forward. And that's not going to help anything or what you're trying to achieve at the end of the day, at the get go. So always put your things in perspective and what you think is going to be needed to get done in those 5 or 4 or 3 hours of the day. And then the rest of your life, enjoy it. Because, like you said, tomorrow, and I say all the time, tomorrow's never promised. You know how many people I know that worked, and said they're going to do this when they retire and this, and they're going to retire. They didn't even make it to their retirement. They got sick, they got an illness, and they passed away. Some of them passed away at an early age. That's why I'm going to give this recommendation. Even though you're young, find the time, sit down, write a couple of paragraphs and say, "Hey, I know life is short. You never know what tomorrow brings. These are the things that mean the world to me right now. And if anything ever happens to me, I want to have this written so someone knows what I was thinking about when I was filling this out and what are the most important needs to be answered right away in case I'm no longer here." So there's an imprint of knowing exactly if something does happen to you that, and you didn't get to write a will. And if you want, write an earlier will than a later will. Because, like you say, you never know what tomorrow brings. I always get people saying, "Well, I'm gonna wait for this bucket list, and I'm gonna go, jump out of the Grand Canyon on out of a plane and skydive and do all these crazy things. I'm gonna go to Mount Everest. I'm gonna go to K2. I'm gonna go to Timbuktu. I'm gonna go to uh, the Tibetan temple. I'm gonna ring the bell and they don't even get to that point because they get sick, they get stricken, they can't move anymore, they got pains. Think about these things sooner than later. Don't make it seem that you're going to live for eternity, because we don't know. We all have a number. We never know what that number is. And when that number comes down to us, when we're gone, those people know the number. It's like, oh, my mom, perfect example. She passed away in March of 2018, and on the 12th. And I used to hate March, and now I hate it even more. It must have been a reason why I hated March. So we all have to understand these things, and we all have to go by what we believe in. All right, guys and girls, if you got a lot out of this show, definitely like it, subscribe it. Definitely check out Mari Angeil Lopez's stuff. I'll leave the description on the bottom. Until next time, this is Vinny Venom, getting into the business, the music business that is episode 22. I will see you on the next episode. Take care. Be well.
Beatcutterz music.
I didn't make a good enough impact. I can hear the sound, I can hear the beat. A new day has dawned on me. Oh.